Let's make an ambient beat for Kankan. Yo, welcome back, guys. I hope you all are doing well as always. Today we're going to be making an ambient Kankan beat. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that I got a recent snippet with him, or it was kind of like a leak. It dropped on SoundCloud. I'll put that up on the screen right now. You guys can see that. I'll also link it in the description if you want to go listen to it. But what's funny is the beat that he actually used was the last Kankan video that I did. So I sent that beat to him. He ended up using that. So for this one, we're going to make another one of those kind of in the same style. The super like spacey ambient melody, and then some like really bouncy drums. So let's get into it. So before we actually get into this breakdown, I just want to let you guys know that me and Prod Gateway are going to be dropping a kit this Friday. It's called Blackout Sound Kit. It's got drum kit, it's got one-shots, phrases, and a whole serum bank plus like loops and midis. Yeah, super fire kit. We put in a ton of work for this. It's got a bunch of different stuff in it. I used it for this video today. I used these bonus one shots. So it comes with the serum bank, and all of those are like rendered out into the one shots, but we added this like extra folder of just like some one shots that we use often. So I used a lot of these for today's video, and then I talk about it all the time, but I also used a lot of my drum sounds for this, for my 2K stash kit. And I will leave that in the description. And then make sure you follow me and Gateway on Instagram so you can stay up to date with when we drop Blackout. Like I said, it should be coming out Friday around like 1 p.m. Central. So yeah, stay up to date with that. So for this loop, we're starting at 132 BPM. And I went for the same kind of like MIDI style as the last ambient Kankan video. So like it's got this classic bass note pattern that I use in like all of these Kankan loops. And then it's just got kind of like a repetitive catchy top line. And for this one, I used the key My Life from the Blackout Sound Kit. And it's going to sound like this. So yeah, for that one, the effects I have on it are just an EQ to cut some of the lows out. And then I have this Portal preset. It's called Voice Echoes. I believe it's from the Pilgrim Bank. Yeah, Mechanisms by Pilgrim. So it's just kind of adding like a little bit of like background ambience to the one shot. And then I went ahead and layered that same MIDI with this key underwater one shot. And this one's more of like kind of like a higher end bell, so that's what this sounds like. The cool thing about this bell is like it has a kind of like a string almost tucked in the background. So when you get like longer notes like you can hear with these two, it starts to introduce that string into the sound. And for effects for that one, I have Portal again on that one. It's called the Pinball preset. It's from Pilgrim's Oblivion Portal Bank. Highly recommend any Pilgrim Portal Bank. Like his are by far the craziest. And then I just have this Supermassive preset that kind of gives it some ambience. You can go ahead and copy these settings if you want. And then just another EQ to kind of cut the lows out. And then the next thing I added was a bass from the one shot kit. It's called Bass Wide Body, and that sounds like this. So that just follows the root notes of the MIDI. And one thing I love doing with like these kind of like ambient spacey melodies is to open arcade and kind of find some cool like ear candy or like textures to put in the loop. So this first one I got, it's like a string accent almost. So it sounds like this. It only plays with like the second half of the loop, or the second half of like the 8 bars, but it sounds like this. And that is coming from the Overture bank, and it's called Soft Hearted is the like library. And then on that one for effects, I just have a lot of EQs, kind of like random ones, just cleaning up a bunch of the sounds. And then I have a heavy reverb on that one just because I wanted the sound to kind of like last a while. And then another super massive preset, same as the last one. So then next I added this counter lead, but I used the key alarm from the Blackout kit. And on this one I have a super massive preset again. You can copy these settings. It just kind of adds like a little bit of delay, but also some reverb. And the most important thing for this is the Portal preset. It's called Waiting. And it's from Radiate and Fendi's bank. And then I have some fresh air to just boost the highs and EQ to kind of like shape up the sound. This EQ looks kind of funky, but it works for this preset just because it kind of turns it into like a background pad almost. So that sounds like this. So yeah, and then the last thing I added was just another arcade for some more ear candy. And that's gonna just sound like this. So yeah, as you can hear, it just kind of adds like some cool like pad kind of textures to the background, fills in the spaces where like you might not have a lot of melodies playing. So that's it for the loop. All together it's going to sound like this. So yeah, definitely has that sort of like emotional ambient sound that Kankan likes to use. But yeah, that's it for the melodies, so I will show you guys how I did the drums. So for these drums, I kind of messed around with having a lot of the percussion in like weird pockets, especially with like the hi-hats and the snares. But we'll start it off with just the clap. Pretty standard, nothing crazy. And then I did the 808. And the kinds of 808s I like to do for these beats are like a steady rhythm, if that makes sense. So it's like, you know, there's always like an 808 hitting. There's not a lot of like long pauses where there's no 808 or no bass. So yeah, I actually have two different patterns. The first pattern just sounds like this. Or I'll play all 18 together and show you guys like how it progresses. But this is what the 808 sounds like. But so yeah, like I said before, it just got like a nice rhythm to it. Not a lot of like long pauses without a note hitting. And then I just added in like some like just little accent rolls here and there, and like pitched up some notes. So the next thing I did was the hi-hat, and this is where it gets like kind of obscure with the bounce. So I'll just play it and then I'll try to explain kind of what I did after. So yeah, definitely not your average hi-hat pattern, but the simplicity to it is kind of like, it's hard to explain, but like the way I did it was I would make like a roll and then kind of like cut out certain notes, or you know, change my grid to like a third step and make rolls and then like just cut notes out. And the same really applies for like all of the snares and the perks. They're not like your typical like snare patterns and whatnot. The cool thing though is that in my 2K stash kit, I have a MIDI section that has like hi-hat midis and snare midis. There's 20 of each, 30 actually hi-hat midis, but that's what I used for this beat. So if you want these kind of like obscure, you know, snare patterns and hi-hat patterns, definitely check this kit out. As well as all the drum sounds are from there, so it's definitely a good kit to have. But I will play all of these snares together. I was highly inspired by 22 Nate. If you guys know who that is, he does a lot of stuff for Kankan in this like ambient style. I took a lot of inspiration from hearing his drum bounce for these style of beats, especially with like the hi-hats and just having kind of these like weird rolls that, you know, you would think wouldn't really fit into a beat, and they kind of throw you off beat at some points, but they always kind of catch themselves. So he was definitely a massive inspiration for me making these style of beats. But for the last stuff, I just added some more perks and then this open hat. So I'll play all the percussion together without the 808. So that's it for the percussion. All together, the drums sound like this. So that's pretty much it for this beat. The only other stuff I did was like the arrangement. I just kept, you know, all the drums in. I didn't really take any out. I just kind of pick and chose like spots to cut away the drums so the melody can come through a little bit more, and just kind of creates like some nice tension. And then I added just like this thunder effect from Cody's sound effects kit. It just is kind of like a transitioning effect. And yeah, that's it for this beat. I hope you guys learned something as always. Like I said at the beginning of the video, me and Gateway are coming out with Blackout Sound Kit on Friday. Make sure to follow both of us on Instagram. Stay up to date with that. I'll link my 2K stash kit in the description if you guys want to get that. So yeah, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, all that. Let me know what kind of video or like what artists to cover for future videos. But yeah, I'm gonna play the beat and I'm out of here. Peace.